Yeah, so we start with the question again. Not anger so much as frustration. I've been at the spiritual game for over 20 years now, and look where it's gotten me. One paycheck away from the poorhouse, and now I've just lost my job, and it looks like the cash flow has stopped again. I'm getting tired of the struggle. I'm 49 years old, and I'd like to have some security in life so that I could devote more time to God stuff, to soul evoluting, etc. That's where my heart is, but it's not where my life allows me to be. Well, you said a mouthful there, and I suspect you're speaking for a whole lot of people when you share that experience. I am going to respond to your truth one sentence at a time so that we can easily track and dissect the answer. You have not been at this spiritual game for 20 years. You have been barely skirting the edges of it. This is not a spanking, by the way. This is just a statement of truth. I'll concede that for 2 decades, you've been looking at it, flirting with it, experimenting now and then, but I haven't felt your truest commitment to the game until just recently. Let's be clear that being at the spiritual game means dedicating your whole mind, your whole body, your whole soul to the process of creating self in the image and likeness of God. This is the process of self-realization about which Eastern mystics have written. It is the process of salvation to which much Western theology has devoted itself. This is a day-to-day, hour-to-hour, moment-to-moment act of supreme consciousness. It is a choosing and a re-choosing every instant. It is ongoing creation, conscious creation, creation with a purpose. It is using the tools of creation we have discussed and using them with awareness and sublime intention. That is playing this spiritual game. Now, how long have you been at this? I haven't even begun. Don't go from one extreme to the other, and don't be so hard on yourself. You have been dedicated to this process and you're actually engaged in it, then you'll give yourself credit. But you haven't been doing so for 20 years on anything close to that. Yet, the truth is, how long you have been engaged in it is not important. Are you engaged in it now? That's all that matters. Let's move on with your statement. You ask us to look where it's gotten you, and you describe yourself as being one step away from the poorhouse. I look at you and see quite a different thing. I see a person who is one step away from the rich house. You feel you are one paycheck from oblivion, and I see you as one paycheck from nirvana. Now, much depends, of course, on what you see as your pay and to what end you are working. If the object of your life is to acquire what you call security, I see and understand why you feel you are one paycheck from the poorhouse. Yet, even this assessment is open to correction, because with my pay, all good things come to you, including the experience of feeling secure in the physical world. My pay, the payoff you get when you work for me, provides a great deal more than spiritual comfort. Physical comfort too can be yours. Yet The ironic part about all this is that once you experience the kind of spiritual comfort my payoff provides, the last thing you will ever find yourself worrying about is physical comfort. Even the physical comfort of members of your family will no longer be a concern to you. For once you rise to a level of God consciousness, you will understand that you are not responsible for any other human soul, and that while it is commendable to wish every soul to live in comfort, each soul must is choosing its own destiny this instant. Clearly, it is not the highest action to deliberately abuse or destroy another. Clearly, it is equally inappropriate to neglect the needs of those you have caused to be dependent on you. Your job is to render them independent, to teach them as quickly and completely as possible how to get along without you. For you are no blessing to them so long as they need you to survive, but bless them truly only in the moment they realize you are unnecessary. In the same sense, God's greatest moment is the moment you realize you need no God. I know, this is the antithesis of everything you have ever been taught. Yet your teachers have told you of an angry God, a jealous God, a God who needs to be needed, and that is not a God at all, but a neurotic substitute for that which would be a deity. So when the author is, saying that I've been at this spiritual game, but when he realizes, in this spiritual game, it is all about being committed in terms of your mind commitment, in terms of, commitment from your body and the commitment from your soul. So the journey of spirituality talks about a holistic commitment, wherein it involves the mind, the body, and the spirit. And when the author feels that he is in a situation where he's completely gone, the God sees it in a very different light, because what you perceive of what you are, that is what you are projecting to the world. Everybody has issues in life. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if we are born on planet Earth, there is a pending Karam Kand for which we are liable, and that is why we are here. So nobody on planet Earth is perfect. If a person or a soul is on planet Earth, that means he has done something in the past for which he is now here. So nobody is perfect. Stop comparing and start enjoying and living who you truly are. जो circumstances हैं, they are there. It is as it is. It's only your mind that is perceiving it differently. If I am a paycheck away from my poor house, that's my thought. I can also think that I'm a paycheck away from a good house. Who's stopping me? All stories, if you go back and read the autobiographies of a lot of people, who made from rags to riches, kuch nahi the. Petrol pump attendants, and probably they're now billion dollar, stakeholders, and they have their wealth in running into so many millions and billions of dollars. How did they do it? They could also think, na, मेरे से तो नहीं होगा यार, यार कल खाने के पैसे नहीं है यार, मैं what am I thinking? A lot of people who were there around them thought that way. But the ones who are committed are clear. It's okay. Even if I don't have money for my next meal, I know God has made it for me. It will come. I have that trust and I have that faith in that power, in that energy, in that God. And once we have that trust and that faith in that whatever is coming or whatever is happening for a reason. It's happening for me to experience something, for me to learn something, for me to realize something. That is where you start accepting and being the person who you truly are. And that is a strong part of conscious creation, creation with a purpose, where your circumstances, your events, your situations, your way of being is not affecting the way you want things to be. And it is not shattering your ultimate trust and faith in that whatever happens will happen for my best interest. A true master is not the one with the most students, but one who creates the most masters. A true leader is not the one with the most followers, but one who creates the most leaders. A true king is not the one with the most subjects, but one who leads the most to royalty. A true teacher is not the one with the most knowledge, but one who causes the most others to have knowledge. And a true God is not one with the most servants, but one who serves the most and thereby making gods of all others. For this is both the goal and the glory of God, that his subjects shall be no more, and that all shall know God not as the unattainable, but as the unavoidable. I would, I would that you could this understand. Your happy destiny is unavoidable. You cannot be saved. There is no hell except not knowing this. So now, as parents, spouses, and loved ones, seek not to make of your love a glue that binds, but rather a magnet that attracts. And then turn around and repels. Lest those who are attracted begin to believe they must stick to you to survive. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be more damaging to another. Let your love propel your beloveds into the world and into the full experience of who they are. In this will, you have truly loved. It is a great challenge, this path of the householder. There are many distractions, many worldly concerns. The ascetic is bothered by none of these. He is brought his bread and water and given his humble mat on which to lie, and he can devote his every hour to pray, meditation, and contemplation of the divine. How easy to see the divine under such circumstances, how simple a task. Ah, but give one a spouse and children, see the divine in a baby who needs changing at 3 a.m. See the divine in a bill that needs paying by the first of the month. Recognize the hand of God in the illness that takes a spouse, the job that's lost, the child's fever, the parent's pain. Now we are talking saintliness. I understand your fatigue. I know you are tired of the struggle, yet I tell you this, when you follow me, the struggle disappears. Live in your God space and the event become blessings one and all. So what is he trying to say very clearly here in the last page is God's greatest moment is the moment you realize that you don't need God. हम सारा टाइम एक थॉट में, we have these things clear कि यार ऊपर वाला है, the God is there, but what is his wish for us? That we would not need him. What he's trying to, say here is, since God is our father or the mother, Mother Earth, God, Father. Now, what is the duty of a parent? Is to make sure that the child becomes independent, to be on his own, to live on his own, to earn on his own, to be successful on his own. And that's true conscious parenting. I'm not talking, be having those certain set of belief patterns where you want to, the child to stick to you and not grow. I mean, it's there in the animal kingdom. If you see, if a bird just hatches the egg, it's just sent out of the nest that you fly, because that is what you need to do in order to survive. Humans are still sensitive beings. We do not, take that infant newborn and on the floor, bhaiya chal, because we know, the evolution of a human being takes different time, because we have more chakras than the animals and the birds. But what is the catch here? Like a father, like a parent, like a mother, the God wants us to be at a place where we are independent. Like the way a good conscious parent would like his child to be independent, free, not dependent on the parents. I mean, this is one of the biggest issues which is happening these days, is that even in a lot of us, our age, if we talk, this generation which was born before 2000, in a lot of cases, we have been brought up in a manner where we are actually dependent on the approval of our parents. I mean, I have seen people 35, 40, 50 years also, I don't say that they would not be doing it out of respect. Definitely, it's a good respect, it's a good omen to take the consent of your parents. But a lot of people do it out of a compulsive habit of indecisiveness. And please do not get me wrong, but that's a strong way how, females have been brought up. And it's a big research that was done on Indian females up to the age group born before 1996. Because in that era of upbringing from 1972 to 1996, it was a sample size of about 2,800 females. This was done in 2016. The whole concept of upbringing was of such a restricted environment where all the decisions of the females were being taken by either the father or the consultation of the parents. So for that female child to take a decision of which school, which friend, which movie or whatever was dominated and driven by the parents. And after that, when they got into a age where they were, about to start their own family, they were in such a pre-programmed planning of not making a decision themselves that they had to actually depend on their better halves, on their spouses for all decisions and all approvals. So वो क्या है? Part of your upbringing, which is shaping your adult self. Hello. What we want for our children right now is to be independent of themselves. Let them make those mistakes. Let them make those decisions. Your job as a parent is only to guide them, not spoon feed them. Because by spoon feeding, we are gluing our children with us and not letting them be on their own. And that is the true purpose. What God wants from us is not to be dependent on God for everything, because He has given us everything, each and everything required for us to be experienced, to be, do, and have what we are here for. It's all there with us. It's just a matter of realization, and it's just a matter of a conscious creation choice that we should not be dependent on God. I am not saying not love Him. Always seek for His blessing, always seek for His guidance, always seek for His support. But that action has to be independent of who you are, of who you truly are. You have Him, you have the God, the Almighty, the energy, the universe, whatever name you want to call it. But that's there as a blessing for you, that's there as your biggest support for you, and that's there as your biggest guidance for you. But action aapko hi lena hai. As a parent, that's what we want from our children. That we want to, be their supports, we want to guide them, and we want to bless them. But that action has to be taken by them. Similarly, God also wants us to do that. How can I get to my God space when I have lost my job, the rent needs paying, the kids need a dentist, and being in my lofty philosophical space seems the least likely way to solve any of this? Do not forsake me when you need me most. Now is the hour of your greatest testing. Now is the time of your greatest chance. It is the chance to prove everything that has been written here. When I say don't forsake me, I sound like that needy, neurotic God we talked about, but I'm not. You can forsake me all you want. I don't care. And it won't change a thing between us. I merely say this in answer to your questions. It is when the going gets tough that you so often forget who you are and the tools I have given you for creating the life that you would choose. Now is the time to go to your God space more than ever. First, it will bring you great peace of mind, and from a peaceful mind to great ideas flow. Ideas which could be solution to the biggest problems you imagine yourself to have. Second, it is in your God space that your self realize, and that is the purpose, the only purpose of your soul. When you are in your God space, you know and understand that all you are now experiencing is temporary. I tell you that heaven and earth shall pass away, but you shall not. This everlasting perspective helps you to see the things in their proper light. You can define these present conditions and circumstances as what they truly are: temporary and temporal. You may then use them as tools, for this is what they are: temporary, temporal tools in the creation of present experience. Just why do you think you are in relationship to the experience called lose a job? Who do you think you are? And perhaps more to the point, who do you think I am? Do you imagine this is too big a problem for me to solve? Is getting out of this jam too big a miracle for me to handle? I understand that you may think it's too big for you to handle, even with all the tools I have given you. But do you really think it's too big for me? I know intellectually that no job is too big for God, but emotionally, I guess I can't be sure. Not whether you can handle it, but whether you will. I see. So it's a matter of faith. Yes. You don't question my ability, you merely doubt my desire. You see, I still live this theology that says that there may be a lesson in here somewhere for me. I'm still not sure I'm supposed to have a solution. Maybe I'm supposed to have the problem. Maybe this is one of those tests my theology keeps telling me about. So I worry that this problem may not be solved. This is one of those you're going to let me hang here with. Perhaps this is a good time to go over once more how it is that I interacted with you, because you think it is a question of my desire, and I am telling you it's a question of yours. I want for you what you want for you, nothing more, nothing less. I don't sit here and make a judgment request by request whether something should be granted you. My law is the law of cause and effect, not the law of we'll see. There is nothing you can't have if you choose it. Even before you ask, I will have it given to you. Do you believe this? Now, when we, read between the lines, what is God actually trying to tell the author? That, when it's a situation where, there is a lot of adversities, you are filled with adversities, and, somehow you are of that question, why me? Whereas from the perspective of the evolution or growth of the soul for the experience is, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to test whatever I have learned. Because if it is not tested, how do we know that we have those sets of experiences for which we are here to experience? अगर मेरे पास वो सिचुएशन ही नहीं आएगी जहां पे मेरी जो सोल की ग्रोथ का एक्सपीरियंस छुपा हुआ है, डेफिनेटली थ्रू डुअलिटी ऑन प्लैनेट अर्थ, हाउ विल आई ग्रो? बट द माइंड मेक्स अस वर्क इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. ऐसे कैसे? या सब कुछ बुरा मेरे साथ ही हो सकता है? सब कुछ मेरे नसीब में लिखा हुआ है? That's actually the wrong approach, because that is the approach of the mind. As a soul, we are here for a specific purpose. And for that specific purpose, the entire universe will manifest those experiences, those set of events, those set of situations, and those particular set of people in your life for you to experience what you are here for. There is no coincidence. Everything, every bit of thing is a planned way for you, the soul, to achieve that experience, take that wisdom, and then grow beyond that experience. And that's the true purpose of why you're here. So instead of having this approach when things are, situation, people, events, circumstances are undesirable, rather than asking why me, always be of this focus, try me. Because once you pass this test, that is your way. That is your way forward. That is your way to growth. Yes, sir.
Bhaiya, the way we discussed that whatever comes in our space, it is because of how we manifest or how we think and how we talk about it. But then abhi like you're saying कि जो भी experiences आते हैं वो duality में हमारे आगे आते हैं so that we complete our experience and we experience what we are here for.
Yeah.
तो can we say कि हर चीज़ हम manifest नहीं करते, कई चीज़ें इसलिए भी आती है because we need to experience something.
हमारी manifestation out of a billion thoughts, वो 5 चीजें क्यों हैं?
ताकि हम 5 चीज़ों से वो
Manifesting,
experience.
I am manifesting. See, the whole world would have a billion choices for me to manifest.
Right.
Say, for a particular example, I want to manifest this particular model of watch. मेरा personal desire है. इतने options available हैं. Why that particular watch?
क्यों?
That's what I'm asking. इतने options हैं. Why do we make certain experiences and वही हम manifest कर रहे हैं in our life again and again? There is a bigger power at play.
So it is like
That
it
is
comes
going
from
to,
both.
yeah. So वो जहां अब अगर आप कोई चीज you get into a wrong track, it's like a constant traffic guy signal you, भैया ये रोड बंद है तो इस रोड पे जाएगा, so that you can get connected to where you want to truly go.
Okay.
जब हम उसको एक्सेप्ट करना शुरू कर देंगे, we will get green signals on all traffic lights rather than getting diversions and roadblocks in our way of evolution in terms of growth of the soul. But जब हम why me करते हैं and we get onto that space where we start questioning and doubting things, and because doubt and question only comes where there is no trust, where there is no faith.
But then we can say no कि जो हम चीजें manifest करते हैं, the way you said there's a bigger power at play, तो indirectly तो वो चीजें God ही हमारे लिए आगे ला रहा है ना.
तो God कहाँ है?
हम में. I'm a bit confused again.
Yes.
मतलब आप
It
मेरा
is
question
confusing.
समझ गए कि मैं क्या
It
पूछ
is
रही हूँ.
confusing because you are still trying to analyze it from your mind. Drop the mind. See, I'll tell you. I'll try to make it more clear. मैं लाइफ में एक पर्टिकुलर चीज करी जा रहा हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता मैं ऐसे क्यों बिहेव कर रहा हूँ.
ठीक है.
तब मैं एक रियलाइजेशन की फेज में आता हूँ कि भैया मेरे साथ तो यही चीज हो रही जो मैं कर रहा था. Okay, so what is it that I need to learn? I take that wisdom from that experience, and that thing probably starts showing. So there is a lesson which I was here to experience and gain the wisdom. Now the soul has that wisdom. Okay. So now in that manifestation, why is it that we manifest a particular set of events is because the way we feel that the thought and the creation is as per us. हमें ये लगता है, we have this belief and this illusion that our thoughts are our own. So if your thoughts are your own, and if the others in the group also have this similar opinion that जो भी हमारे thoughts हैं, they are our own, we are the owner of the thoughts. So just close your eyes for 2 minutes. Since you are the owner and the creator of your thoughts, so anything you can think is directly under your control. And coming from that control, now you are going to use your powers and not think of a pink elephant. You can think of any other elephant, but you will not think of a pink elephant because this is your thought and you are not going to think of a pink elephant. Open your eyes. What did you see?
Pink elephant.
So thought हमारे है ही नहीं, हमें लगता है हमारे.
पर मेरे को अभी भी ये डाउट आ रहा है कि अगर हम आज अगर मेरी लाइफ
डाउट
में
ट्रस्ट और फेथ में आ रहा है और कहीं नहीं.
नहीं मैं जो जहाँ पे अटक रही हूँ, द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट कि जैसे अब कोई एक्सपीरियंस आ रहा है, आई गेट इट कि अगर मेरी लाइफ में बार बार कोई इंस्टेंस ऐसे आ रहा है जहाँ पे आई एम गेटिंग इम्पेशेंट, दैट इज फॉर मी टू लर्न पेशेंस, दैट पार्ट आई हैव अंडरस्टूड. बट वेयर आई एम गेटिंग स्टक इज कि आज अगर मैं अपनी लाइफ में कोई भी एक्सपीरियंस गुड या बैड मेरी लाइफ में आ रहा है, तो दैट इज जो हम इतनी देर से बुक में पढ़ रहे हैं इज मेरी मैनिफेस्टेशन. बट अभी अगर हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं दैट देयर इज अ बिगर पावर एट प्ले एंड वो एक्सपीरियंसेस मेरे आगे लाए जा रहे हैं ताकि मैं उनसे कुछ सीखूं, तो फिर मैं खुद मैनिफेस्ट
Where is
कर
the
रही हूँ.
relation between the two? Can you see? Can you make a relation between the two?
दोनों चीजें एक ही हैं.
फिर यही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ. बट ये हमारी नहीं है, ये हमसे करवाई जा रही है. Because the soul's earning to grow is so strong, but the mind thinks that no, it is my creation, my mind, my thought. It's the soul at play. Silently he's playing.
तो बेसिकली सब हम ही करते हैं.
When you're consciously aware is your process of conscious creation, where we are in line with what the soul wants and why the soul is here. मैं एक दुकान में एक पर्टिकुलर चीज लेने गया हूँ या एक चीज एक्सपीरियंस करने गया हूँ, बट मैं वहां उसकी नाइस लाइट्स है ना वो देख के थोड़ा डिसवेड हो जाता हूँ, तो बार बार एक रिमाइंडर तो बंदा फोन करेगा ना, यार ले लिया वो. नहीं नहीं यार मैं तो ना लाइटें देख रहा था बड़ी अच्छी लग रही यार मुझे तो अमेजिंग. अच्छा 2 मिनट बाद फिर तो यार वो ले लिया बहुत जरूरी था. नहीं नहीं यार मैं ना उनके ना वो दूसरे भी देख रहा था. सो दैट्स अ कांस्टेंट रिमाइंडर ना, because the soul is doing its level best to get to where it wants to go. But since you are not receptive towards the listening and the voice of the soul, that's where the confusion happens.
Now I have some clarity about that. Thank you.
No, I'm sorry. I have seen too many prayers go unanswered. Don't be sorry. Just always stay with the truth of your experience. I understand that. I honor that. And that's okay with me. Good, because I don't believe that whatever I ask, I get. My life has not been a testimony to that. In fact, I rarely get what I ask for. When I do, I consider myself damn lucky. That's an interesting choice of words. You have an option, it seems. In your life, you can either be damn lucky or you can be blessing lucky. I'd rather you be blessing lucky, but of course, I'll never interfere with your decisions. I tell you this, you always get what you create and you are always creating. I do not make a judgment about the creations that you conjure. I simply empower you to conjure more and more and more and more. If you don't like what you've just created, choose again. My job as God is to always give you that opportunity. Now you're telling me that you haven't always gotten what you wanted, yet I am here to tell you, you've always got you called forth. Your life is always a result of your thoughts about it, including your obviously creative thought that you seldom get what you choose. Now, in this present instant, you see yourself as the victim of the situation in the losing of your job. Yet, the truth is that you no longer choose that job. You stopped getting up in the morning in anticipation and began getting up with dread. You stopped feeling happy about your work and began feeling resentment. You even began fantasizing doing something else. You think like these things mean nothing. You misunderstand your power. I tell you this, your life proceeds out of your intentions for it. So, what is your intention now? Do you intend to prove your theory that life seldom brings you what you choose, or do you intend to demonstrate who you really are and who am I? Who I am? I feel chagrined, chastised, embarrassed. Does that serve you? Why not simply acknowledge the truth when you hear it and move towards it? There is no need to recriminate against yourself. Simply notice what you've been choosing and choose again. But why am I so ready to always choose the negative and then to spank myself for it? What can you expect? You were told from your earliest days that you are bad. You accept that you were born in sin. Feeling guilty is a learned response. You've been told to feel guilty about yourself for things you did before you could even do anything. You have been taught to feel shame for being born less than perfect. This alleged state of imperfection in which you are said to have come into this world is what your religionists have the gall to call original sin. And it is original sin, but not yours. It is the first sin to be perpetrated upon you by a world which knows nothing of God if it thinks that God would or could create anything imperfect. Some of your religions have built up whole theologies around this misconception. And this is what it is, literally a misconception. For anything I conceive, all that to which I give life is perfect, a perfect reflection of perfect itself, made in the image and likeness of me. Yet, in order to justify the idea of a punitive God, your religions needed to create something for me to be angry about, so that even those people who lead exemplary lives somehow need to be saved. If they don't need to be saved from themselves, then they need to be saved from their own built imperfections. So these religions say you'd better do something about all of this and fast, or you will go straight to hell. This, in the end, may do nothing to mollify a weird, vindictive, angry God, but it does give life to weird, vindictive, angry religions. Thus, do religions perpetuate themselves? Thus, does power remain concentrated in the hands of the few rather than experienced through the hands of many? Of course, you choose constantly the lesser thought, the smaller idea, the tiniest concept of yourself and your power. To say nothing of me and mine, you've been taught to. My God, how can I undo the teaching? A good question and addressed to just the right person. You can undo the teaching by reading and rereading this book over and over again. Read it until you understand every passage, until you're familiar with every word, when you can quote its passengers to others, when you can bring its phrases to mind in the midst of the darkest hour, then you will have undone the teaching. Yet there is still so much I want to ask you, still so much I want to know. Indeed, You began with a long list of questions. Shall we get back to it?